Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. Before I get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews tonight. Yo, I'm talking about Ready to Love. As I mentioned, I'm talking about Ready to Love. This past episode, closed mouths don't get fed, right? Closed mouths don't get fed. Once again, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. It is very imperative, man. We're just going to talk about Ready to Love. It is good to be with you. Make sure you drop some lines in the chat and let's get started. Hey, we started this episode out. We started an episode out where we left off the last episode, right? The episode was left out where we saw Koshia and Mika standing there, getting ready to be eliminated. And Will had to make the tough decision, right? Neither one of the women like Will. Neither one of the women could care for Will so much. Will said that Mika gave off the homie vibe, that Mika gave off the best friend vibe, right? She's the home girl. She's the one that you can hang out with, that you can chill with, that you can relax with. That is what Mika is. He said because she is she's a chatter, right? She talks too much, and they don't know if they can deal with that. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, they sent Kochia home, right? We all knew that was going to happen. If you were surprised, I wasn't surprised at all that Kochia was the one that was going to go home. She sent her home. She was a little upset, right? But she said, "Look, at the end of the day, it is what it is." And she'll keep it moving. I do think she's gonna have some other relationships outside of the show, outside of Ready to Love. I think they haven't stopped talking yet, right? Because she is gonna land on her feet. She gave that motherly vibe. But nonetheless, Tommy then tell everybody that it is the women who's going to be in charge this week, and there's going to be talk about non-negotiables, right? Everybody's going to talk about what their non-negotiables are, and we're going to move forward, right? He tells them to go put some clothes on, and let's get this week started, right? The first date of the week, we see going out on a date here. We see Rashina and Justin, right? Rashina and Justin go out on their date. And they go salsa dancing. Now, I don't salsa, but I've taken a salsa class, a lesson, right? A couple lessons with the wife, with Jack. And tell you, it is a difficult dance to do, man. It's hard. You got to be able to be coordinated in movement and move very well. I can appreciate the date, right? Understand the date, how salsa dancing was. But we saw Justin and Rashina, they have a great connection, right? They have a great vibe. They can communicate very well. They talk very well with each other, and they're very open with one another and honest. And Rashina and Justin was very clear that his Rashina is number one, right? She is top on his list. That she is really where it needs to be, what he's looking for in a woman. Rashida then tells asks Austin Justin asked Rashina what was one of her non-negotiables. She said communication. Communication is one of the non-negotiables for her. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to talk. And Justin said he has no problem communicating, right? By God, he's a teacher. He talks all day long. He's an 8th grade PE teacher. You have to talk to kids and navigate situations all day long with children and make sure they can do what you need them to do with direction and guidance. And so they have a great date. They communicate with one another. And again, Justin says he's being vulnerable at this point to Rashina. He's opening up. He's showing that he can be vulnerable. He's showing that you know what, I'm much more than just looks. I'm open up to you. I will communicate with you. I will show you what you need, and I will give you what you need. And I thought this was a great date between these two. It shows another side of Justin, shows another side of Rashina, and she says she has a couple top people up there. Chaz, she said Chaz was her number one, but Justin is very slowly creeping up the board, right? He's slowly but surely getting up there. So we see where that goes. We'll see where that goes from there. Then we see Alexis and Chaz go out on a one-on-one date. Chaz says he's physically attracted. Alexis says she's physically attracted to Chaz. Chaz said he likes her style and her charisma, likes the pick of dress that she had, like the outfit she had. But this is where it turned messy for me, man. I don't see why they was on this date, and why in the world would Alexis bring up the last elimination with Koshia leaving, right? He asked her the question, how did you feel about the last elimination or something to that nature? And she goes and says, well, it didn't bother me at all. It didn't care at all, right? You don't have to ask that question, right? We all know Koshia went home, and Chaz, the type of person that he is and the guy that he is, he said, look, she went through some things and she had some emotional issues and some problems. And And at the end of the day, I feel sorry for her. I feel bad about what happened to Kashia because again, she had some issues and she was starting to come into her own, and she would go home. And I think Alexis just wanted to be messy and wanted to keep stuff going. But on this day, Chaz and Alexis found out they share some of the same core values. One of Chaz's non-negotiables, and most people non-negotiables, he doesn't like cheaters. Don't cheat on me, right? If you're gonna be with me, be with me. Don't cheat on me. If you don't want me anymore, tell me that you don't want me anymore. Let me go, right? Let me do what I need to do. Let me go on to the wayside. So one of his non-negotiables is cheating, which I thought was good from Chaz. Chaz is moving up the level with other women because again, he's communicating, he's listening. All right, he's been an active listener. Right, I think that's why a lot of the women like Chaz. If you know that even from the pajama party, it said he's one of the most attractive, but not just attractive based off his looks. Right, I think it's attractive because of him being an active listener, him being able to articulate back to them what they're saying, and being able to share some substance. Right. And there was a romantic chemistry between those two. You could feel the vibe. You can feel what was in the air. Alexis was coming all over him. Like, she's like, yo, pick me. Basically, she was like, yo, I want to be your one. Pick me. And Chaz almost said it. He said, look, can I call you my boo or my girl? Something to that nature, right? Where he identified. He put a personal tag on it to let her know that you could be my one, right? So my question is there, if she's your one, where is Vanessa at, right? Where's Rashina at in this case? Because him and Vanessa was going hard. So is he's telling the women what they want to hear at this point. So he's telling Alexis what she want to hear at this point. So Chaz, they felt like they wanted to go there for the kiss. They wanted to move in and get the kiss, right? But he didn't. And this is where I take Chaz is playing the game smooth. He said, look, I can't go around kissing everybody, because if I go around kissing everybody, that messed my game up. Right? He already knows that the women have loose lips. He already knows. Let me see. Let me make it plain. He already knows Alexis has loose lips. Right? So if Alexis has loose lips, and she goes into the women's mixer and say, you know what, me and Chaz kissed, or me and Chaz did much more than kiss, it's gonna blow his game up. So Chaz is smart enough to say, you know what, I can't kiss this woman. I'm gonna keep it PC. Let me hug her, and we keep it moving. Right? We keep it moving on. Smart play by Chaz. He didn't want his game to be blown up by the fact that he is attracted to Alexis. He does probably want to kiss Alexis, but at this time he realized he has enough self-control, enough power, enough understanding in him that he can't do that, because if he does, it's going to mess his game up. So he doesn't want to do it. All right. Then we see Patrice, man. Patrice set up a date for her, Alonzo, William, and Vanessa. They get to this date. Patrice says that William is one of her strongest connections, which was a surprise to me. I don't know. I can't remember any other scenes where they were together where that connection was tight. Maybe there's a lot of off-scene talking, telephone conversations. Don't remember that. I do remember her and Alonzo being tight. But she said William and Alonzo are one of her two connections. And Vanessa's tagging along as well, right? Vanessa is like that, as they say, the fifth wheel. All right. She's a spare in the back, but she tags along on this date as well. Everybody's wearing black except for Alonzo. He felt kind of output it. Felt like he was out on the end. But they sitting at a nice hibachi restaurant using chopsticks. Alonzo couldn't use his at all. William's throwing a little bit of jabs. We find a little bit more about William, though. We find out William used to ball back in his life. Explains William when he was on the court, right? Explain why William was hooping, because he was a baller. He told Patricia that, hey, look, I'll show you some pictures later. Patrice, I'll show you some pictures later of me hooping. That's what he does. Alonzo wasn't really intimidated by William, but you could tell there was a little competition. There was jerking for position. William began to talk and ask the conversation about love at first sight, right? Vanessa began to chime in and say, I think men fall in love more at first sight than women. I'm gonna ask you guys that, and then leave it in the chat and comment in the chat. What you think? Are men more likely to fall in love at first sight, or is it women, right? I think I kind of agree with it. I think when men look at women, men be like, hey, you know what? I think I can be with that one. Well, I think I really like that one. And I say that all the time, and Jack's not here this time. I think when I look at Jack, when I saw her, I was like, you know what? I think that might be the one right there. Then we started to develop a relationship even more. I think women look at it, and women wants to see how things play out, see how you are emotionally, see how you physically, are you a provider, are you a protector? Can you do all those things? I think men will look at somebody and say, you know what? That's it right there. Not based off a look, but just a little bit of his looks, a little bit of conversation. So only time will tell. Then we get into the whole William said, look, I'm told Vanessa leans over, I'm trying to spend some time with you, right? We're trying to have some conversation, but every time I've been texting you, but I ain't getting nothing back. I've been texting you and I ain't receiving anything. And people are like, dang, like, dude, like, Vanessa, why you never respond? She's like, hold on, let me see what number you have, right? Let me see what number you have. Come to find out my man had the wrong number. Bruh. This is why I was like, man, that's on him. That's not her. That's on him. Because in this day and age, when a woman gives you her number, call right then and there. If she gave you a cell phone number, call there. Send a text message right then and there, so you can verify that it's the number. Hey, look at your phone. Is your phone ringing? You got to verify. So you won't get the wrong number, right? I've been out of the game for a minute, but at least I'll be smart enough to know. Say, if someone give me their number, I'm going to check right then and there. That's the correct number. Send a text message. Send a phone call. Hey, is this just you? Man, you missed opportunities, right? And she said it. She's like, yo, days have passed, weeks have passed where we could have been connecting, where we haven't connected. And so he has no connection with Vanessa at this time, but he could have had a connection with Vanessa if he had just checked the digits. The digits numbers was wrong, man. But William said some of his non-negotiables is that he has to have peace. Somebody he's with has to have peace. He doesn't like to do the drama. He does not involve in all that stuff. He wants somebody to have peace. And Patrice was like, hey, yo, she like that. She wants a guy to have that deal with peace and that's drama free, that knows what he wants. And she's not even really too concerned about the 3 kids because, again, he's a father, she said, and she's a mother. And they just be like the Brady Bunch. You just bind that family together, right? They'll come together as one. So that's what's a good thing there. You see that Alonzo, when he asked about non-negotiables, Alonzo said, well, I can fit into anything. Alonzo said he can put up with anything. That's a problem. That's a guy who's a people pleaser, right? You have to have a non-negotiable. You have to have something that be like, hey, you know what? I don't put up with this. Because if you start putting up with anything, you put up with her cheating. You put up with her putting her hands on you. You put up with her talking bad about you. Man, that is a way out, right? That is not answering the question, or that's not you being true to yourself or being true to who you are. We all have non-negotiables. I don't care what your non-negotiable is. If it's lying, if it's cheating, it's the way she smacked food or he smacked food. If it's, snoring out, somebody has a non-negotiable, right? But for him to say, I can put up with anything, he thought he was trying to sound as if he was real resilient, and that's fine. But there's some things in relationships you shouldn't put up with, right? There's some things in relationship that you shouldn't have to deal with. And we know that's not true because him and Coach Shea, he couldn't put up with Coach Shea going back and forth with him weeks ago. So there's some things that you can't put up with Alonzo. And again, he told her that just to please her. She didn't buy it. She didn't buy it at all. She didn't buy it at all. Like I said, Vanessa called out, basically called out Alonzo William as well. He said, look, we just don't have time together. And she's comfortable with the fact that her and William just don't have any time with each other whatsoever. All right. Then we see Mika and Dominique, man. Mika and Dominique go out on a date. And this was an interesting date because you can see Mika's walls starting to come down just a little bit, right? Her being with Dominique and the way Dominique talks and the confidence in Dominique. This is one thing that I like about Dominique. Mika said he was shorter than her, right? Shorter than she usually date. Which, again, that's a negotiable. That was one of her negotiables. She like a tall guy, whatever the case may be. But Dominique is such a good talker and a cool vibe that she's willing to overlook the height because she wants to spend time with the person. And I think that's the case sometimes too, when people have their negotiables or they have a certain checklist, that if the person that you're dealing with doesn't meet everything on your checklist, you're willing to look past that. And she's willing to look past that because he communicated very well. He's intellectual. He is confident in who he is. They have great conversation and communication. He makes her laugh, right? She said one of her non-negotiables is the fact that she likes to laugh. And he said he makes her laugh. And one thing I like about Dominique is this: he shows the confidence when he walks in the room. He said, man, a lot of the other guys not like me, right? I'm not worried about elimination because, again, I know who I am. I'm true to myself. I've been saying the same thing since day one. And let's be honest, he has been saying the same thing since day one. He's been saying, I want 2 to 10 kids, right? I want to be with a woman who wants kids. And you starting to see Mika start slowly bringing that down a little bit because, again, she's never been in a relationship with a person, right, who wants to get her kids, which means tell you that her kids probably wasn't, when she had her kids, there wasn't a strong relationship. Probably somebody she was dating, but it wasn't been that strong. And so now Dominique said, look, if we're going to be in a strong relationship, which, again, y'all grown, too old. Y'all should be married next time. She should be married next time she had kids. I think she's 36, right? Each his own. Those are my values, right? You should be married when you have in this case, right? In this case, on Ready to Love, these two, if she's talking about having kids with Dominique, or Dominique's talking about her wanting her to have kids, somebody need to be walking that aisle very shortly, very soon, right? Let's not be dating talking about kids. Y'all too old for that. She's talking about, you can be an old man. He said, I'm gonna be okay, right? I'm gonna be okay. They should have that communication, should have that conversation moving forward. Dominique is willing to, he wants somebody to compromise, and Meek is starting to compromise. He's starting to wear her down. And I'm not saying wearing down is a bad thing, but he's starting to let her see, look, I am a good dude. I'm going to take care of my kid. I'm going to give you something that you have not had, right? I'm going to give you something that has not been provided to you. If we go down this road, and we are in this relationship, or we are dating each other, we do get to marriage, or we do get to fiance, I'm going to be there for you. You're going to be there for me. And we're going to have a child together and raise a child together. I think that's the biggest issue that's separating them. And Mika's look like she's willing to start to compromise because, again, if we're honest, she has no other connections, right? There are no other connections in this case other than Dominique. I don't see her with anybody else, right? Don't see any other connections but Dominique. So because, again, Mika was almost sent home. So she has to work the room. She has to work Dominique. She has to let her guard down if she wants to stay in this, stay on the show, in this competition, for lack of a better term, right? Then we see Maya. Maya goes on a date. Maya goes on a date with Justin, and she mentioned that that her and Justin really didn't see much of each other. I think the only interaction that Justin said they had was when she was twerking on him at the pajama party. And Justin was interested to see, that's what's up. If I'm your least favorite connection, we're at this point, because that's why she twerked on him, let's make this connection real, right? Let's go on a date. Let's start to communicate with each other and see if there's something there. And there was a refreshing date there. Justin communicated. This is where I have an issue with Justin, because Justin's telling women what they want to hear based off their need for children, right? In the past, Justin told women, you know what, I came to grips with the fact that I don't want any children here. But when him and Maya talked about children, Justin was like, you know what, I want kids. I want kids. Bruh, be honest. Somebody said on a panel discussion a couple of weeks, Justin is playing a game, right? In this sense. And in this depends on who he talks to, if he wants kids or not. Hey, if you want kids, bruh, say you want kids. Don't when you're talking to Mika, so I can do in or out, I can have them or can't have them. Nah. And then when you're talking to Maya, you're like, yo, I want them. They both realize they don't have kids and they want kids. So guess what? That is a process they can work on. Go with the one that works for you. I think kids is a big issue here, right? Especially with Justin and with Maya, with Mika. When you start adding her in the mix, these are his connections. With Rashina, right? She already has kids. I don't think she wants any more kids. So Justin has something to figure out, right? Do I want kids or do not want kids? And I think that's a big issue for him because, again, he's flip-flopping based off who he's dating and who he's going out with and who he's communicating with. So he has to feel that. But their date was refreshing. You saw that Maya was really feeling Justin. We also felt like that Maya's number one, or the top person on her list, is William. Who would have thought? William. Yo, y'all be the quiet assassin, right? The guy, the hooper, all right, is the one who the women are feeling, who the women are liking. So, so Maya and Justin had a good date. Maya's top connection is William. And both of Justin and Maya are looking for long-term relationships, right? They are both long-term relationship type people. So hopefully they can work that out in the next couple of weeks. Then we see Will, Jonathan, and Rashina who go out on a date. They go make some body butter, right? They go make some body butter. They started to have a discussion about the non-negotiables. Will said his non-negotiables that he needs somebody that loves God, right? He needs somebody to love God. He said he loves his Hennessy in Jesus, right? He said he ain't giving up his Hennessy for Jesus, but he loves Hennessy in Jesus. Each his own. Bible says, let a man work out his own salvation with fear and trembling. If that works for Will, that works for Will, right? But not. Rashida says her non-negotiable is, she wants to be able to have somebody who has trust and a commitment. Again, I don't want nobody sleeping around. I don't want nobody doing threesomes. I don't want nobody doing none of that stuff. If we're in a relationship, then we're going to be in a relationship together. We're going to be committed in this relationship. I need commitment. I need somebody who's going to be strong. I need somebody who's going to be there for me. I need somebody who's going to hold me down. Now, you got my man Jonathan out there. He ain't even feeling this relationship. He ain't feeling this date at all. He comes with, I want somebody who don't smoke, right? And I can't, the other thing he said, I can't even remember the other thing he said, but it was something foolish. He wasn't feeling it. He said, I'm a private person. I'll share that stuff later. Bruh, you're on a TV show. Again, you sign up for this, you open up for this. Sometimes you don't create the narrative. You don't have control of the narrative. They're asking questions, and be open and honest. You're gonna say, you know what, me, you can say that when we're on a date 1-to-1, right? Boom. I mean, I don't feel comfortable sharing in front of this guy. I mean, I like Will, he's a good dude, but I want to share between me and you what my non-negotiable is. This is the point, man. You go whisper in here, my non-negotiable is, boom, whatever case may be. And he just started he started saying foolish stuff about smoking and different things. Those are his non-negotiables. Bruh, just be honest, right? If you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. Are you feeling it? You are feeling it. I think Jonathan is feeling Alexis more than anybody else. I think Alexis is a stronger connection, his biggest connection, and everything else. He didn't feel like going on this date, which we believe. I believe, and I think production set up. But nonetheless, then Will starts to interrogate Rashida. So asking all kind of 50 million questions. Have you been on a threesome? Yeah, I agree. I think he might be hiding the woman. He's hiding the baby mama. Well, let me say, excuse me. He's hiding his ex-wife, right? I'm not gonna say baby mama, his ex-wife. I'm gonna respect the fact that he did say baby, that he said that his child are by his wife. So he's hiding his baby mama, his mother, his wife that they have a relationship with, and it's what it is. I mean, that's what he's hiding. Jonathan's always been secretive on his show. He's always been that. And you just got to take it for what it's worth. Again, Will started interrogating Rashina, asking 50 million questions, rattling off, firing off questions back and forth. Boom. And she's like, what is this interrogation? She's not feeling him at all. All right. This is where Will went south. He's like, who's your least favorite connection? Like, why am I worried as a man, right? I'm not worried about nobody else's connection with her. Now we can see the beef between LaRon and Will. If you don't know there's a beef, look at the preview, right? The preview suggests that there's an issue between LaRon and Will. There's an issue with LaRon's trying to get Will out. And we see Will says, who's your least favorite connection? And she mentioned LaRon. That's messy. If I'm on a date with a woman on this show and we're dating, I'm not bringing up another dude. I'm not even talking about another dude. This is about me and you for seeing what we can work. Why am I worried about who her least favorite connection is if she's on a date with me? Come on, bro. I just don't understand as a man. As a dude, be confident like Dominique. Be confident in who you are. Be confident in your place. Be confident in your relationship. Be confident in your communication. Be confident in your swag. Be confident in that the fact that you've given her your undivided attention and you're not worrying about the next guy. You're not worried about the next dude or the other people in your that's in your circle, right? Will was worried about the wrong thing. He's worried about her least favorite connection. How about you worry about sweeping this lady off her feet so you don't go home? So you can be the guy. Say, you know what? That date me and Will had when we was at the we was making some shea butter, we was making some butter, man. That date was smoking. Look, don't have her leaving a date saying, you know what? I have no connection with this dude. That means that you have a lack of ability to swag, your lack of ability to communicate. Because again, at the end of the day, this is your audition. This is your opportunity to woo her. She brought you out. She wanted to see if there was a connection there, and you're talking about LaRon. That's the problem. And that's one of the reasons why my man got, well, we'll get there. we get there a little bit later. All right. Tommy meet with the women. He said, look, before we even get to the deliberation, before here, I'm going to throw you guys a curveball. Here's a curveball. The women start talking about who they like, who they went on a date with. They start discussing their dates. Alexis started discussing her date with Chaz. And she talked about how the energy with her and Chaz was there, how much she wants getting ready to kiss. And Mika was like, that's too much information. Something shouldn't be taught. Now you can see the rift there, right? There's an issue between Mika and Alexis because they believe Alexis talks too much. If you go back a couple weeks where Koshia and Alexis got into it, it was Mika who followed Koshia. You're starting to see the divide within the women on the show, right? Start to see where alliances ride at and who's feeling whom, right? Patricia brought up the conversation and like there are women dropping dimes and people telling stuff. And let's be honest, Alexis did not tell Will who said he was sleeping on the floor. First of all, it shouldn't even been a rocket sign. When Will heard it, he should be like, oh, I know who did it. But he did his whole investigation situation. All right. He did his whole investigation situation, and it came out the fact that it was Patrice who said, hey, he's sleeping on the floor. And she felt like she was being interrogated. Hey, Will said he was going to war, right? He said, this means war. I ain't talking about Charles Jenkins. He said he's going to war with these women. He didn't go to war. And again, it came off like a whimper, more more than a warrior situation. And Patrice didn't feel that, and she felt that Alexis was just dropping dimes. And at this time, Alexis didn't drop dimes. Tommy had to intervene in their conversation, in their discussion. Like, look, I agree with both of you. I feel how both of you are saying it, but let's move on. We're not doing this, right? Let's move on. So let's move. Let's move up. And so what happens is Tommy said, I'm throwing a curveball at you, right? Y'all name these men. 2 guys got to go home, right? Right? You got 3 guys on the chopping block tonight, and 3 guys that you're having, right? 3 guys that are not that you're not feeling, right? Some mention William, right? They mention William because of lack of conversation. Him 3 kids. Some mention Will because he's being too chatty, causing confusion. Some mention Jonathan because they feel like Jonathan is hiding something. He's not getting too deep. He's not opening up. And here we go. There are 3 men on the chopping block. 2 have to go home, right? 2 has to go home. And Tommy's saying, I'm throwing a curveball. 2 people have to go home tonight. And we see here Vanessa takes Will out. And Vanessa began to talk to Will like, look, man, you push. Some of the women think you pushy. Some of the women find you pushy, and some of the women don't agree with the way that you're being talked. They're being talked to. You're talking too rough. You're talking too harsh. You're doing some things that are contrary to what you're saying or how you're presenting. All right. Then you see Maya. Maya takes out William, right? And they're having a good discussion. She said, William, like, people think you're friends and, dealing with the kid situation, right? See, Alexis takes out Jonathan. She's like, look, I thought our connection was real. This is one I like because we actually see here Jonathan apologize to Alexis for what he did at the pajama party. She mentioned they talked several times on the telephone. And she says, look, I accept your apology. Kind of she gave him a pass. If that's how she gave him a pass. He apologized. He admitted that he was wrong. He did too much, right? Team too much. And I take that. I honor that, right? That he realized that he did too much. So he put her in a precarious situation. It wasn't for them to show their deep discussion for us to see, because I think it was much deeper than what they've said of the conversation, because I think she really poured her heart like, look, man, this is how you make me feel. I hope she did that. And I hope he realized the next day, or when the alcohol wore off, or when people told him that he was wrong for forcing her onto his lap and putting her in that situation to make her look bad. So we go into it, and then we see Vanessa who tell Will that he's not ready to love. So Will goes home. I know a lot of you guys wanted Will to go home because Will is chatty. Don't believe that he's a multimillionaire. I'm not in that man's pocket. Don't know, but Will was doing too much. It was too harsh. So she sends tell Will that he's not really loving. So he goes home. All right. No backfire, no cursing anyone out, anything of that nature. Will just takes a seat and he's gone. All right. Then Maya talks to William, and she tells William, look, we still want you here, and we still think that you're ready to love. Man, I told y'all guys, I think I said it on one of my videos or where, that William is a sleeper. Don't sleep on William, right? William is giving that conversation. William is giving that not necessarily a homely vibe. William is making a woman feel safe, right? He's not a creep. He's making the women feel comfortable. And the 3 children people thought might be an issue, ain't an issue right now. William is doing his part to make the women feel comfortable, and people are liking him. He has Maya, right? He has Patrice. William is doing okay. He got 2 people that's riding for him, right? Then we get my man Jonathan. And I said it earlier, 2 had to go home. Alexis tells Jonathan that he is not ready to love. And this is where the interesting fact is she started crying, right? She's really emotionally caught up in the fact that Jonathan has to go home. And if you see, there might have been some gameplay here, right? I don't know. Her 2 people that she's been connected to on this show are gone. I want y'all to think about that for a minute. She was connected to Will. Right? Her and Will chatted all the time. They talked. The other connection she had was Jonathan. He's gone. What's next for Alexis? Now she had to pick up. Now you see where the play with that with Chaz. She realized that something was, I think she sniffed out something maybe going on, or that Will might be close to going home. So now she's in there with Chaz, right? Now she's feeling Chaz, right? Chaz is feeling her. So she just kind of probably saved herself for the next elimination because she was able to tag on to somebody else. Hey, I'm not saying she's a smart lady. She's a smart lady. She know people gunning for her, right? She know people gunning for her, so she has to get that another connection. And there lies where Chaz comes into it, and now her and Chaz have a big, big connection. But nonetheless, Will goes home. Jonathan goes home, and next week the men are in charge. And it seems like LeBron has a plan. It seems like LeBron, if you watch the previews, LeBron has a plan. And the plan is they got Will out. The next plan is to get Alexis out. And here's the question: who else is in this plan? Who else is in this group with LeBron? Right? Who's LeBron connected to make this situation happen? Because you need men and women on both sides who are willing to execute this. Only time will tell. I agree with you. Alexis is alienating herself from the women, and she may be next. But she came, and I say she's alienating herself from other women because she don't trust them. 2, she's not on the show to be friends with the women. I think that's from Janelle. I think Janelle said this in the last season. I'm not here for the women. I'm here to find love. I'm here to find a relationship. I'm not here to find a best friend. I'm here to find love. I'm here to find a relationship. And so if you're here to find a love and a relationship and you don't trust the women that you're dealing with, and they already don't trust you because they think you have loose lips, right? Because you're talking. And again, I think she has loose lips too. But she's not the only one that has loose lips. Let's be honest, right? There's pillow talk. There's such things called pillow talk. There's late night conversations. She's not the only one who's divulging what's going on in the women's lounge. And Will's not the only man that's divulging what's going on in the men's lounge. I think they're all talking to each other and having cross conversations. And then Alexis is the easiest point out because she already pointed her out. So I think there's multiple things that are going on here. And again, she's going to alienate herself from each other. I agree with you. That is one of the problems with the show, right? Here it is. If she's playing the game, it's not about the relationship. Then that is one of the problems with the show. If she's playing, I think all of them are playing the game. I think you get to a certain point where you play the games because you know the number game. You know that you have to at least have connections with 2 or 3 people in order for you to stay. If you have that one connection, right? You only have that one connection, you're probably not going to stay, right? If you have that one connection and one person rooting for you, you're not staying. Okay, here from this season, let's be honest. LeBron is the only one that was rocking with Koshia. What happened to Koshia? She went home. So if you're really thinking about it, if Will hadn't been so bad as he is, and Jonathan wasn't being so closed off, LeBron might be going. But LeBron, what we see, has been building other connections, right? LeBron has built a connection. We saw him go on a date with Vanessa. We saw him go on a date with Koshia. And I think he has a connection also with Maya. I think we saw him go on a date with Maya as well. So he has multiple connections. Therefore, he got 3 people that say, you know what? Let's keep LeBron here, all right? Next week, another woman goes home. So we'll see how strong Alexis' relationship with Chaz is, and if Chaz really has enough pull. Because right now, from what I'm seeing, from what we see, right? Not what I know, from what we see, there is no other relationship, right? They should have been taking notes from Joey and Clifton, but if you remember, Clifton had another relationship as well besides Joy. He was hanging on to another woman, and I cannot remember her name to save the life of me right now. But Clifton had somebody else he was hanging on to real late because he introduced her to his brother. So again, it was more than one relationship, or more than one connection. Joy had multiple connections as well, not just Clifton. And that group of DC had built a bond together that they were looking out for Joy and Clifton also. So you have some unique pairings and some unique groups here when it comes to Ready to Love. I think this is where sometimes the show, after so many seasons, the show needs to get revamped, or some things need to change. People brought up some ideas that you don't eliminate anybody. You keep everybody on the show, and you see who picks whom at the end of the season, right? See who picks who's going to be there, right? There's no eliminations. Everybody just dating, and then you go through multiple weeks where you say, you know what, show's over. Who do you pick? And then that person, if you pick multiple people, then the person picks, right, at the end of the show. And we know who you have. So there's different things they can do to spice this up so people are not playing the game. I think people learn how to play the game so they can stay on a little longer. And there's no true relationship. There's no true connection. All right. Let's see what else you got. Problem is number 2, you might catch feelings for someone who just keep you around so they can keep, yeah. That's true. Some people keep number 2s around just so they can feel they're number 1, and that's the case. And they're playing games, and so you don't get true relationships toward the end. You get people who just tolerate each other, and then that's why you see people sometimes choose themselves because the number 1 went home, or they don't trust the number 2, or they don't trust the person they're with. So only time will tell and see if Ready to Love will revamp this. I'm hearing that it's not picked up for another season yet. Only time we will see. Man, thank you guys for rocking with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. If you have been with me for the last 35 minutes, 35 minutes, and you watch the whole video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Why not, right? Great conversation, great communication. Thanks for everybody that was in the chat for rocking there. Once again, we'll see what happened next week. Will and Jonathan went home. Next week, the men are in charge, and we'll see who's next. Once again, hit the subscribe button, bell notification. Thank you very much. Have a great night.